Hi, my name's Luke. I'm a Curriculum Officer at the SACE Board of South Australia. Welcome to this online multimedia clarifying forum. The purpose of clarifying is to develop an understanding of the standards. So in this example, it will be developing an understanding of the standards in Research Project A and Research Project B. Just reading the performance standards won't enable you to get a full understanding of the standards. So it's important that we actually look at the performance standard in relation to student work to develop a full and complete understanding of the standards. This video will be constructed in parts, and it's encouraged that you will look at the work available, which is available on our website, familiarise yourself with that work, and then work your way through the little tutorials or the little videos that we prepared for you in order for you to develop a better understanding or a full understanding of the standards in relation to research project. When viewing the work, it's important to understand that the work that you are looking at is actual student work from actual students, and the work itself is designed to be used in the context that they are for training purposes. These are not exemplars. So this is actual work to illustrate the actual standard, and our discussions around the work shouldn't include things like how neat it is or whether it's come from a particular type of student, like a particular school or anything like that. It's about the evidence against the standard, and our discussions will be focusing upon that. So although the work may look different to work that you would normally expect in your school, it's important to understand that work can look different in all sorts of different ways, and it's important to be able to separate your understanding from that and look at the work on face value in relation to the performance standards. When preparing to teach the research project, it's important that you familiarise yourself with the documentation which is available on the Research Project mini site. For example, the Chief Assessor's Report is a vital document in order to look at some improvement advice written by the Chief Assessors. So when we do our quality assurance processes throughout the year, both the marking process and the moderation process, we ask for some feedback from our markers and moderators, and that feedback is recorded in this document. So this is an improvement advice document, which I encourage you to familiarise yourself with. This year has been the introduction of two distinct codes, Research Project A and Research Project B. Now, there is a separate subject outline for both subjects. So it's really important that we consider these subjects as separate subjects. So just like we have, biology and scientific studies, we have Research Project A and Research Project B. Although a lot of the criteria and the coursework, the school assessed work, is the same, the external assessment is very different. From our perspective here at the SACE Board, we consider them as separate subjects, and therefore you should think of them as separate subjects as well, which means that they will have different results. So you will result them separately, you will package them separately, you will enrol them separately. So it's important to understand that when counselling students, having a last minute swap from one to the other may impact on that student's ability to be successful in the one that they swap to because of the change or the difference in criteria, particularly around the external assessment. The other thing to consider is that when packaging for moderation, that we don't include work for Research Project A in the same bag as work for Research Project B. This could lead to confusion and it could lead to a student's work not being looked at as thoroughly as it deserves to be. The last piece of information which is very, very important for teachers is the operational information. This can be found on the subject mini site on the SACE Board website, the Research Project mini site. It is a vital piece of information because it gives clear guidance as regards to the packaging and submission dates required for both Research Project A and Research Project B. My colleague Bob, who will meet in it shortly, will be talking about the folio and the requirements around the 10 pages. That information is clearly stated in this document. So it's important that teachers and students are familiar with this document, both in regards to when work is due, but also in regards to the folio, how that work should be presented.